So far, we've explored the chords that make up major key centers. We'll get comfortable now with the concept of chords in the way that they relate to particular scales in our workout today. Hello again, so glad to have you as we continue our journey towards better piano and keyboard proficiency and facility. Now remember to subscribe if you're new to our group, because we want to stay in touch and grow together. And just in case you need a quick refresher, also click on the past topics card and explore the progress that we've been making, okay? So, building on the chords that we've been practicing coming out of the major scale, we'll also look at the modes of the major scale and how these relate to these chords. Now, modes are nothing to trip out over. They're simply the shifting of the start point of the major scale. Each one has a name, which lets us know from what note of the scale you're going to be starting from. So you will want to learn these, and you'll also want to learn how they sound, okay? So let's get into it. Now, as always, I'm including a couple very useful websites in the description to bring you up to speed on the theory of modes, so check those out. But we will start with our usual examination of 3 keys, hands separately, of course, okay? In the key of D major, the first mode is D Ionian, which is exactly the same as the D major scale. Now, all other modes will contain the same notes, but will start from a different point in the scale. It's that simple. Alrighty, E Dorian is next. Dorian lets us know that it's built from the second note or index of the D major scale. In fact, another way to think of it is that we're playing all of the notes in the D major scale, but we're starting from E. Now remember to play evenly and in time, okay? Nice. Now next will be F sharp Phrygian, with Phrygian indicating that we're starting from the third note or index of the scale, and that note of course is F sharp. So for clarity, remember we're simply playing in the scale of D major, but we're starting from F sharp. Simple enough, yes? So again, in D major, the mode built on the fourth note or degree is G Lydian. Now this should be making perfect sense to you by now. The same notes of D major, but we're starting on G. Keep it steady and smooth. Good. A Mixolydian is next. By now you should recognize that Mixolydian speaks to the fact that we're building on the 5th degree of the D major scale, and that is A. Your previous scale work should be helping you with the fingering of these. On to B Aeolian, which is the same thing as the natural minor scale. And of course, this is the D major scale starting from the 6th degree, which is the note B. Now you'll be getting a feel for these as you do them more consistently, alright? No worries. Finally, C sharp Locrian, which is the D major scale starting from the 7th degree, which is C sharp. Of course you guessed that. Listen to the sound of this one, right? Alright. Good stuff. Good. Now let's do E major and look at this from another perspective, okay? Now, as before, E Ionian is the same thing as the E major scale, but from this point onwards, we'll examine what differentiates each of these modes from their parallel major scale, which will help us to recognize each of their very distinctive characteristics. F sharp Dorian, when compared with F sharp major, has a flattened 3rd and 7th. Now, listen and remember the way this sounds. Don't forget to make a mental note of the accidentals or black notes of the scale, and of course, compare it with the parallel scale. Next, comparing G sharp Phrygian with G sharp major, we find that the Phrygian has a flattened 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. Get familiar with the sound and listen to the arrangement of the tones and semitones, and as always, play evenly. And don't forget to listen. A Lydian is next, and our comparison yields a sharpened fourth. That's the differentiating factor from A major scale. Listen carefully. By now, I think you should notice that these are simply just a displacement of the same scale, right? You got that, right? Yeah, you got it. Okay, this is followed by B mixolydian, which features a flattened seventh when compared with B major. Now, this mode will be a very important starting point for many other important relationships that you're going to encounter, so pay attention to it. C-sharp Aeolian contains the flattened third, sixth, and seventh when compared with C-sharp major. And don't forget, this is the natural minor scale, okay? The relative minor. Make that tie in. Capping the list, we find D-sharp Locrian, which has a flattened second, third, fifth, sixth, and seventh scale degrees, the whole enchilada, compared with the parallel D-sharp major scale. Can you hear the texture of this one? Interesting, isn't it? Es muy loco. Excellent work, friends. Now let's play these modes against the same diatonic 7th chord sequence, and remember to check the description to give yourself just a little refresher if necessary, okay? Now this time we're going to listen to how these complement each other and how your ear picks up the sense of tonality hands together now, okay? Here we go. Major 7 with E flat Ionian, minor 7th with F Dorian, minor 7th with G Phrygian, major 7th with A flat Lydian, dominant 7th with B flat Mixolydian, minor 7th with C Aeolian, D half diminished with D Locrian. Nice. Now be sure to engage both your senses of hearing and touch, paying close attention to the shape, feel, and sound of these chords and modes. In fact, in your own practice time, play each chord and mode combination a few times and listen to how they really work and sound together, okay? Now, this is going quite well, isn't it? Let's do the same thing in E major. Call them out as you play them for yourself. Listen to their texture and character. Play with precision and evenness. And of course, make sure your tempo is comfortable for you. Good. Alrighty then. So as usual, we're going to give our fingers a wee bit of a workout for dexterity. So we will do an exercise where we play the root and fifth, third and seventh of each chord in the diatonic sequence, hands separately first. In we go. Starting again in D, we will be building recall of these shapes and getting independence and strength for our fingers. Now look, feel free to slow the tempo until you are more comfortable. The idea here is to be as smooth and even as possible. Keep your hands relaxed and free of tension, okay? Let's tackle E flat, but we're gonna double the subdivision. Hands still separate, okay? Of course, in your own practice time, you will do the subdivision in speed that's comfortable for you. And of course, always remember, comfort first, speed comes after. Working on 3 keys daily, you will see an improvement, so just make the time and stick to it. Now we're going to put our hands together, doing the same pattern, but we're going to separate our hands by a tenth. This is going to begin to make increasing demands on our hand coordination, so don't get frustrated. We'll play each group twice to get accustomed to the shape. As usual, keep it as even as possible. And the more you do this, the more you will gain control over those naughty hands, right? Sweet. Now look, let's double up on the subdivision. We're making it, are we? You know we got this. Upper semitone, yes? Going well, don't quit. Keep going. Nearly done. There you go. We've done it again, yay! Now look, remember we are adding these to our other drills in 3 different keys every day for a rich and rewarding practice time, which, when consistently done, will help us to greatly improve our facility on the keyboard and over time, reduce our dependency on the transpose button, right? How cool is that? Now, as always, I'm encouraging you to spend quality time every day listening to and transcribing some music. This will significantly improve your ear, and while you're learning, your hands will begin to intuitively get around the keyboard. Now, I'm looking forward to your comments, and as you share your progress and your struggles, both are important for our development, and also the songs that you're listening to and working through. The greatest progress takes place when you keep at it consistently, okay? Now go ahead and subscribe so that we can stay in touch. And remember to post your questions and I will get back to you. Also, don't forget to share this video with others who can join us on our journey to better musicianship. So happy practicing and see you next time as we work out more drills to increase our skills.